Welcome to the RN2writer Show, where we help nurses and other clinicians become freelance writers. I'm your host, Elizabeth Hanes. I'm a nurse and a former six-figure freelancer, and today I coach people like you on techniques and strategies that can help you thrive in your writing career too. Before I dive in, I encourage you to expand the description box below to see all the resources I refer to in this episode. Today, let's talk about why and how you need to diversify your income streams as a nurse writer. On a previous episode, I shared the Rocks, Pebbles, Sand story to talk about distribution of risk. And I just want to be clear that income diversification is not the same thing as distribution of risk. So what does it mean to diversify your income stream? Well, what it means is that you want to set your business up so that your income comes from different sources, not merely from different clients. So, for example, in the creative industries, like writing, we often use the example of building a three-legged stool. If you think about your business as a stool, you want to support it and keep it stable by having multiple legs on it. So what I mean by that is maybe one of those legs is your writing income. Your freelance income, no matter how many clients you have, your writing income is one leg of the stool. Now we need a second leg. So maybe we start an affiliate blog, and that makes money passively through advertising, so that becomes our second revenue stream or our second leg of our stool. And once we have that rolling, then we want to think in terms of what should the third leg of our stool be? Well, the sky's kind of the limit. Maybe you want your third leg to be ghostwriting celebrity autobiographies, for example. And even though I'm laughing, I want to tell you, I know multiple freelance writers who, in fact, have ghostwritten celebrity autobiographies. It's not as far-fetched as you think. So let's think this through for a second. As a writer, you have numerous options for making money beyond just your freelance client work. Let's talk about a few of those. A few of my freelancer friends have created income streams or legs for their stool from these types of activities. Starting an affiliate blog. I want to point you towards the blog Attainable Sustainable by my freelance friend Chris Bordessa. She's one of the first freelancers I was personally acquainted with who really developed a strong income stream from having an affiliate blog. And so if you check that out, you can see what's possible in that realm. So another way that you can add a revenue stream or add another leg to your stool is by self-publishing your own books. Our very own coach, Marika Roman-Durning, self-published a book, and she has also done traditional publishing. But self-publishing keeps all the revenue in your hands, and you have total control over the process. So that makes a decent second leg for your stool. Or again, not joking, ghostwriting books. Ghostwriting can be incredibly lucrative for freelance writers, and it's still in the same realm. It's still writing, but it's a different leg to your stool because it's not freelance writing in terms of client work, health journalism, and content marketing writing. Ghostwriting is a thing all to itself. Books, ghostwriting books. So that's why it qualifies as a new leg to the stool. You also can author your own books and publish traditionally. If you haven't checked out Jennifer L.W. Fink's book, Building Boys, go get it right now. It's a great example of how Jennifer took her freelance writing stuff and then started doing a blog and then built that into a traditionally published book. Totally viable path and adds legs to her stool of her business. Maybe you want to do courses in coaching. That's what I did, obviously. I had my freelance business. I started thinking about ways to diversify my income, to add legs to my stool. And I came up with courses and coaching because I had so much request from people to do that. Branching out from writing, I know writers who create and sell artwork. My friend Jackie Dishner did just that. I'm not even sure if she's still writing, but for a long time she was a successful freelancer. Today she does a lot of art stuff. Coming back to things that are writing adjacent, you could create a content agency. Maybe once you get very successful and you have more clients than you can serve, you start bringing on subcontracted writers, create your own little agency, and serve clients on a larger scale. That would be a fantastic way to add a revenue stream. Maybe you sell digital products. Maybe those are info products like ebooks, but maybe it's stuff like your own cross-stitch patterns or knitting patterns or something like that. Again, as long as it's bringing in money, perfectly viable revenue stream for you. Maybe you become a content strategist. Maybe providing content strategy becomes a leg on your business stool. Maybe you add consulting. I personally think every writer should have consulting as one of the services they offer. And if you develop that as a somewhat separate business, then that counts as an entirely separate revenue stream. You could start a podcast, make money off of that, put it on YouTube, get views, monetize it, then you have a revenue stream. Could create videos separate from that. Maybe you have a wildly successful TikTok channel or something like that. My point is, anything else you can do that creates its own revenue stream is helping you build a stable business with multiple legs. And that's what it means to diversify your revenue. Now, maybe you're asking yourself, but why? Why should I diversify my revenue streams? I love my freelance writing business. I have distributed the risk. I'm perfectly content with that. That is fine. Then do that. At a certain point, however, you might find that the peaks and valleys of income, revenue flow from your freelance business is stressing you out. So when you create multiple revenue streams, it creates more budget certainty for you because you're not relying on just one of them to support you. If one of them ebbs, another one might flow, and that can level out your monthly budget. Also, it's fun. It's fun to have multiple revenue streams. Most freelancers I know reach a point in their career after they've been doing it for a number of years where they're kind of bored with it. That happened to me. It's one of the reasons why we have RN2writer today. I was like, I love my clients, I love what I'm doing, but it's kind of boring at this point. So just having fun, keeping your business a fun thing to come into work to every day is a good reason to diversify your revenue. It also keeps your creative juices flowing. It's so easy to stagnate as a freelance writer. You find yourself using the same phrases and words and expressions in your writing all the time. And when you are pursuing multiple interests to bring in money, it will keep your creativity firing so that you stop doing that. And you know, having multiple revenue streams might make you more productive. I am a person who flits from task to task. It's not to say I don't sit down and concentrate for hours at a time, because I do, but what I'm saying is I love novelty. I like to constantly be doing something new, even if it's just task-based. So if I'm deep in a freelance project that has been grinding me mentally, doing research and going through drafts, it's such a relief to say, okay, I'm going to stop that for a moment and I'm going to go over here to my other revenue stream and I'm going to tinker with that. You're still being productive. In fact, you're being very productive because you're working on basically different businesses all at once. But it also is a nice mental break to be able to do that. Another good reason to diversify your revenue streams is because one of them might hit it big. I never expected RN2writer to grow at the pace it grew. When I started RN2writer as an additional revenue stream, I thought it would maybe, over the course of 10 years, this was my plan. Over the course of 10 years, maybe I can equal my freelance income, which was about $100,000 a year at that time. And little did I know that within the year, it would have far surpassed that and keep growing. So that's why I now devote my full time to this revenue stream and don't even have writing anymore. And you can't predict that stuff. I mean, when you start adding legs to your stool, you just never know. One of them might be the $1 million idea. And you would deprive yourself of that if all you did was focus on your freelance writing for the rest of your career. Now, having talked about all the great reasons to diversify your revenue, I do want to throw a caveat in here. Do not make this mistake that I made early in my career several times. I was thinking about diversification from early on when I started relying on freelancing for my complete income. I had no nursing job. It was all freelance writing. And I wasn't entirely comfortable with that, so I wanted to diversify. But not really knowing how to do that, I would jump at every oddball opportunity that came my way. For example, someone would throw an opportunity to be a content strategist at me. And I honestly wasn't qualified to do that. I didn't know a thing about content strategy, but I was like, I know I can learn it, which is a great mindset to have, so I would leap in. The problem with that was the ROI was not there because it was such a time suck to try and learn this. The opportunity cost was high-paying clients I was missing out on while I was trying to do these. They weren't even low-paying strategy gigs, but my effective hourly rate was low because it was taking me so long to figure out how to do it. I also happened to get a lot of what I call writing-adjacent opportunities, like someone wanted to hire me to be the publicist for their self-published book. Again, not only was I not qualified to do that and didn't know what I was doing, but it wasn't even something I wanted to do. I didn't like doing it, but I thought, I might as well try it. Again, a mistake because the opportunity cost was too high. And also, these types of things pulled my focus away from my core business, which was writing. I needed to get my writing business on a firm foundation, ramp that up to, for me, my goal was $80,000, $85,000 a year. Then I decided to go higher than that, shoot for six figures because I was bored, as a matter of fact. But I needed to focus on my core business, which was the writing, the freelance writing, serving clients. And the interesting thing is this. My writing career didn't really take off. I really didn't start earning the money that I wanted until I focused on the writing for clients. And once I solidified that and then began to branch out into other revenue streams, that's when I started making the big dollars that I wanted and needed at the time. So my advice to you is, if you're a new freelance writer, focus on solidifying your writing business, learning how to serve clients, learning how to juggle multiple clients, learning how to distribute your risk, and then start thinking about diversifying to create that three-legged stool. So just to recap this episode, diversifying your income means having multiple revenue streams that contribute to your bottom line. There are lots of options for writers to do this, from affiliate blogging to creating art and selling it. Diversifying your revenue stream what I call creating a 3 or 4-legged stool, can give you income security. But solidify your core business, which is client work, first before you start thinking about adding another leg to your stool. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the RN2writer Show. Don't forget to click the subscribe button on YouTube so you never miss an episode. We have links to everything mentioned in this podcast in the show notes, which you can find on YouTube by expanding the description box. And if you prefer audio, please follow the RN2writer Show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I'm your host, Elizabeth Hanes, and until next time, keep pitching.